Welcome back, everybody. Joining us from Washington, we'll look at Axios AM national political reporter for Axios, Jonathan Swan. Jonathan, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Hey, Jonathan.
Talk to us about Axios' one big thing today.
Besides the fact I got married.
Yes, that's right.
Congratulations.
I actually wanted to say congratulations, but I wasn't sure if you wanted
Mazel
to bring
tov
it up
is the right
on air.
phrase.
Mazel tov to you,
go.
indeed.
Congratulations.
Congrats, my
We're very
friend.
excited to you.
And to Betsy. Anyway, that's not our one big thing. Sources close to President Trump have expressed concern about the intentions of the recently departed National Security Advisor John Bolton to write a book about his time serving President Trump. I reported that Bolton has signed on with top book agents, Keith Urban and Matt Latimer from Javelin. They represented James Comey for his 7-figure book deal. And look, Bolton is the Trump administration official who saw the most in terms of national security decision-making, the most sensitive decisions and conversations made in this administration, who appears to be willing to actually talk about that in fairly candid terms. You saw others like James Mattis, the former defense secretary. He wrote a book, but it was all about leadership, and he avoided the T word as much as possible and sort of kept it very, very anodyne. Sources who know Bolton do not expect that that's the path he's going to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, given the way he left and given the kind of disparaging comments the president has made about him, I wonder if he'll not unleash on the president. Quick question for you. Is there any indication yet on when the Bolton book may come out, when it may be published? Because obviously the question is whether or not it'll have any impact on the run-up to 2020.
Yeah, I don't know the timeline for it, but given the speed at which the deal was done, I expect pretty quickly. I know from talking to literary agents that there is a very small window for these Trump books right now, and they need to be out before the election for there to be a good deal. So my assumption is it will be before the election and potentially substantially before the election, but I just don't know the date.
I know Axios is also looking ahead to what could be a big week for the impeachment proceedings against the president. What can we expect here, Jonathan?
So my colleague Elena Treen reported last night that Gordon Sondland, the U.S. ambassador to the European Union, at the moment looks like he may, after all, appear next week. Certainly, that's the schedule that the committees have sent out. Republicans, look, I can tell you from my own reporting, there was a pretty tense internal debate inside the White House about whether to allow him to appear or not. Ultimately, they decided not last week, but there were people in there who argued pretty strenuously that he would actually be much more helpful in his testimony than some of the other folks, mostly because he is a real Trump loyalist, and you could see that from the text message he put where, it was very scripted. I understand Mr. Trump would never do a quid pro quo. The problem is there is an asterisk. He will have to answer questions about the fact that Senator Ron Johnson said that told the Wall Street Journal on the record that Sondland told him that it was his understanding the Ukraine aid was being held up on because President Trump wanted an investigation into the Bidens. So he's going to have to answer that question. And, you've got the word of a U.S. Senator, Republican, on the record saying that this is what he said. So, I know that they think it will be helpful, but there's certainly potential downside as well.
Hey, so what are you going to be looking for in the day, the week ahead? What are some of the important issues related to the impeachment inquiry or elsewhere that you're going to be keeping an eye on?
Well, apart from just what I do normally, which is trying to find out what's being said in these rooms with the testimony. Look, one thing I'm watching very closely is the movements in public opinion, and that's something that the White House is watching closely, President Trump's political team is watching closely, and senators are watching really closely because we have seen an unmistakable shift in public opinion towards support for impeachment of this president, and that is concerning some people.
All right, Jonathan Swan, live for us in Washington, D.C. Congrats again on your
marriage.
Give our best to Betsy. We'll be reading Axios AM in just a bit. Our viewers sign up for that newsletter by going to signup.axios.com.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.